Hi, my name is Jean Arnold, and when Philips contacted me, inviting me to create works for this climate crisis show, I became very excited and I exploded with ideas because I've been a climate activist for over 10 years and I haven't engaged my art in a full way with the climate crisis issue itself, and so I was very excited to see what I might come up with. So with all those ideas I initially generated, I narrowed it down, and with these two pieces I had a couple basic ideas, and then in the creative process I was able to, in a spontaneous way, flesh those ideas out further. You can see the colors in this one are very hot and in this one are very cool because the climate crisis is causing extremes in both heat and cold, and it involves fires and it involves ice melting. So starting with the bottom piece, I decided to use collage because I think collage really speaks to our times in a certain way, and I wanted to bring in elements from children's books because I wanted to give a child's perspective, and children are going to be the most affected over time by the unfolding disasters. So in this piece, this is actually from a glacier depicted in a science book I had as a child, and then I elaborated on just melting and forming an iceberg field, and here we see civilization as the Titanic headed into that iceberg field, and it's important to know that big ships can only turn very slowly. So, I mean, we're already in the iceberg field, and the COVID crisis we're in now is just the first one we're hitting. In this scene, you can see the fossil fuel industry being towed along behind the ship, and it's causing ecological devastation in its wake. So in this scene, with all the heat, starting up in the upper left corner, we see a terrified child. In this time, at any given moment, there is a smart kid in this world just incredibly worried about his or her future, seeing that temperatures are going to rise, more and more fires and threats to their very existence. So this kid is terrified for his future, and I have here a scene from a children's book, kids playing in the snow. This kid wonders if winter will even exist in the future, if there will even be snow to play in. Then, as we look further at the scene, we see Pompeii. There's new research showing that many people survived Pompeii because they fled before the fatal explosion. Pompeii is a metaphor. Climate change is like our slow-motion Vesuvius, but we have nowhere to flee. The only way we can really deal with it is going off fossil fuels as quickly as possible. So I have a coal plant up in the top of Vesuvius, and riding on that tightrope above, that's a metaphor for just how precarious the times we are now in are, and we're only at the beginning of this tightrope. Down at the bottom of the scene, with the heat and fire, the scientist is a metaphor for our belief in perpetual progress, perpetual growth, our perpetual growing economy, belief in technology as a means to save us. And that faith in technology, ironically, is so many technologies are leading to our very calamity. It's very ironic. Then finally at the bottom of the scene, this is a line rendering of one of the largest coal mines in the world, and it's Black Thunder Mine in Wyoming, with a look towards extraction as the very basis that just keeps moving this whole thing forward, just keeps putting the fossil fuels out there, keeps perpetuating the unfolding disaster. I'm very excited about this show. Even with the COVID crisis, I think it's very timely and relevant, and I think that art can be right now an important outlet, activity, while we're all isolating ourselves. And I think that for any possibility of going anywhere, a gallery is a pretty low risk activity because you can be very spread apart. Like you don't have to be close to anyone. You don't have to touch anything. So it's a way to engage with difficult issues at this difficult time in a deep and meaningful way.